heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. The Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! What we got? 3, 2 birds, Steaks. Go Birds! Oh my gosh, Chad. Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302 Birds podcast experience. Proudly presented by Tick Pick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this week's episode of the Philly Sports Pulse. What a wild couple of days and potential week ahead. The Phils are back in action. They are up and down like crazy. The Sixers, they're making a push at the 6th or even 5th seed. The Flyers, this is their season tonight as the puck is about to drop. That being said, I think we got to talk about the Flyers first, but we got to bring in the expert for all that stuff. I'm unfortunately somewhat of a casual when it comes to the Flyers. Adam, unfortunately,
Probably
same,
less than that.
So that being said, we're bringing in the brain of the Fly world for the 302 Birds crew. Gavin Sweeney, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to the pod.
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. This is you told me this is quite literally the season for the Philadelphia Flyers as they start off against Detroit tonight. Give me your assessment of the Flyers, as they go into this game. But I know from my limited experience with them, they started off hot, then they went cold again, and now all of a sudden, Tyson Forrester's back. Travis Konecny's being annoying, but that's it. That is what it is. What it is. But somehow the Flyers, they're right back in this playoff hunt.
Yeah, dude. It's been, heck of a season for them. Heading into the season, they weren't even supposed to be in the spot. So they've had a heck of a season. Trevor Zegras, the big trade from the offseason, he's doing well, and hopefully he's going to get extended by Danny Briere and Keith Jones. But yeah, man, this game comes down to playoffs. They win this game and they're tied for a spot, and then you have that momentum moving forward to probably clinch one. But they have to win tonight. You're home. This is Porter Martone's first game at home as a Flyer, which is huge. So hopefully the fans can get him going and everything. But yeah, honestly, man, I just want to see good hockey. They lost to the Capitals 2 nights ago, and they scored 4 goals. So the offense was there, but mistakes. They try to clear the puck out of the zone, but didn't work out. Capitals took it. Power play for them worked, and Vladar didn't have his stuff. But this night should be exciting. Martone's first game in Philly. Tyson Forrester's back from injury. I'm pretty sure he hasn't played since December. So hopefully he can get it together and they can build that chemistry back up and give him the puck. But yeah, man, this is huge. You have to win a night in any fashion in overtime or regulation. Get those 2 points, tie that spot, and tomorrow you could be pretty much in the playoffs because they have more games than the Islanders and Bruins. So you have that advantage already. So now you just have to execute. And hopefully Samarson, who's been great since the Olympic break, can do his stuff and make some epic saves. But yeah, it should be an exciting game. Hopefully Philly fans get ready. But yeah, they're going to need all the energy and all the positivity you can get because it comes down to this.
It does. One or two more questions before we let you go and watch this hopefully masterclass of a win by the Philadelphia Flyers versus Detroit. You mentioned Porter Martone came in a long time coming for the Philadelphia Flyers. It feels like they really haven't hit on a first round draft pick in quite a while, and the hype for this guy is off the freaking charts. So, what is your expectations for Porter Martone? Maybe not even this season, not just this season, but going forward in his hopefully illustrious Flyers career.
Yeah, man. I mean, they haven't had really great prospects who are generational. I mean, Nolan Patrick was supposed to be that guy, but concussions got in the way, kind of ruined his career. And Travis Konechny is kind of inconsistent. He's a good goal scorer, but his defense is awful and turns over the puck all the time. So, I mean, from what I've heard and from what I've seen from Porter Martone, he's going to be a superstar. I mean, that guy, he's physical. He is an instigator. He can bury the puck in the net. Porter Martone is going to be a really good hockey player. They just have to develop well and stay patient. You don't want to rush a young guy because, reminder, Porter Martone's 19 years old. I mean, this guy is like 3 years older than me, which is insane. So Porter Martone is going to be huge for the Flyers. They just have to stay patient, give him ice time, make him practice, and let him develop properly. But he could be a really good Flyer, but they just have to surround him with talent. And again, the ice time is really important. I mean, I understand you want to play your veterans. You want that veteran leadership on the ice. But these young guys, if you want to have them in the future, they have to play together for chemistry purposes down the road.
Well, speaking of veteran leadership, I'll hit you with Trevor Zegras. He's had, again, a guy that when we traded for when we got him, the hype for him was off the charts. Has Trevor Zegras, in your eyes, lived up to that height? And especially going into this playoff run, if they make a playoff series, what are your expectations for him going forward?
Yeah, so man, good question. Trevor Zegras, what a career so far, honestly. I mean, in Anaheim, he was supposed to be this big superstar. He was on the cover for NHL The Show. He was supposed to be this big guy, and injuries kind of got in the way, and then inconsistency with the puck happened. And Anaheim basically, I mean, they traded him for a bag of chips. I mean, Ryan Poehling was not that good, so we basically got him for nothing. But he's definitely, I guess, came back, and he's shown that flash of what he did in Anaheim. So, I mean, so far what I've heard from Keith Jones and their whole front office and insiders have told me, that a contract extension is in the works with him. They expect him to be back by the end of the season, but he's had a really good season. I'm very impressed with his puck skill, with his chemistry, communicating. So he's been really good, and in the playoffs he should be good as well. I mean, again, Trevor Zegras feeds off energy. If you provide the energy from the fans' perspective and on the ice with players and instigating, he feeds off of that. So if you can just give him passes, free up lanes, and protect him overall, because teams are going to double him. They're going to want to hit him. They're going to want to fight him. You got to protect him somehow, because he is basically, I would say, the best Flyer on the team right now, if you want to go by forwards, because, I mean, again, I love Travis Konechny. He's a great goal scorer, but his defense is not great. So if they can keep Trevor Zegras as a Flyer in the future, it'll help the young guys, of course. But right now, currently, he's had a great season. I'm expecting him to continue this into the postseason, and hopefully they can go on a little run. From a realistic standpoint, I'm just happy if the Flyers make it. I haven't seen competitive Flyers hockey since 2018, so it's been a really, really long time. So if they can just make the playoffs and at least put up a fight, they don't have to win the first round. They don't have to do any of that. They can just play competitive hockey. That'll make me happy, because, again, their farm system and their prospects are huge. They're loaded with draft picks, and they have a lot of studs coming up. So if they can just play competitive hockey and extend Trevor Zegras, they have a pretty good future in the making.
I love it. I love it. Now, before we let you go, we try to, we try to help out our guests. They come on, help us. We try to return the favor. So that being said, where can the people? We've got a couple people watching. Where can the people find your stuff?
Yeah, guys. So basically, I'm actually a Phillies contributor. I'm a Phillies beat writer for a publication named Last Word on Sports, and I write with other Phillies insiders. I do some county work from where I'm from. So please, I mean, if you could give me a follow or reference me to anyone, I guess, for sources or whatever you want to do, you can find me at gsweens09 on Twitter. I usually post Philly stuff on there, Eagles and Flyers, and I try to do my best to, give Jess and all the other guys inside scoop or whatever's going on in the Philly media.
We definitely appreciate that a ton. You've came in clutch with a couple of cool things that it is kind of cool to have the knowledge before anybody else. So I appreciate the grind, appreciate the hustle, but most importantly, thank you for coming on, and hopefully the Flyers can get a W for us tonight.
Yes, sir, man. Have a nice show, guys. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you. That was Gavin Sweeney, ladies and gentlemen, coming on, breaking down some Flyers for us because I'm kind of. It's funny. I said that I would get invested in this team. I haven't been into hockey for a while, but I just it's and I'm a baseball guy. So they like hockey to me and baseball. It's like it's the same sort of flow, same sort of ebbs.
Yeah,
into baseball.
For me with basketball too. Yeah,
it's I'm not there. But
we'll get there.
Well, speaking of basketball, let's go there next. Huge win last night for the Philadelphia 76ers, 153-131. Your final against the Wizards. And all of a sudden, I know, I'm going to hit you right now. You've been saying this team is barely a playing team. Well, look at that. The Raptors lost last night. The Heat lost. And now, all of a sudden, the Sixers are cooking for a playoff spot. A 6th seed, even a 5th seed. And miracles happen, people. And we certainly have one hell of a miracle right now. The stars are aligning. The team is finally healthy again. You have Paul George putting up about 40 the other night. Tyrese and VJ combined for 20 apiece. Joel, he was out because of I don't even know what that.
He's sick. Yeah, he's sick.
He's sick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So at least it's not a knee thing. But he once he's better, they're sitting good. Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes, they both combined for double-digit points last night. So, dude, the Sixers, if you get a short series, a 5-game series against a team like the Cavs, against a team like the Knicks, where the Sixers were 2-2 against this year, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, Jess, I don't know. I'm feeling around the same as I did a week ago. And that is, still optimistic, still very hopeful. And really, it's that win over the Charlotte Hornets that does it, right? Because you're able to get the Big Four into the swing. It's a pivotal game against a really, really good Eastern Conference opponent, right? And that Charlotte team that's been one of the best offenses in basketball over the past couple games. And they showed out. I mean, late in that game, in that fourth quarter, on both ends of the floor, we saw this team really look like the team we kind of dreamed that they would be. The Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid pairing was perfect in the pick and roll, as dangerous as ever. Paul George stepped up and was a pretty key contributor late, had a couple nice clutch baskets in the mid-range. VJ Edgecombe had a solid game stretching the floor. Defensively, they were good. Joel Embiid was moving like it was 5 years ago. It was fantastic. And they went to Miami 2 games later, and they kind of looked like
Yeah.
they fell back to earth.
Yeah.
And so I think, where does this team lie, right? It probably lies somewhere in between in my eyes. And that's a team that is very fun and certainly very dangerous. I mean, you just pointed it out. They're a team that has given the Knicks fits, have given the Cavs fits at times when their starting lineup is healthy, put together, and, able to be efficient on both ends of the floor. But there are truly lapses, especially on the defensive end, when teams are able to get out and run against them or really counter them in any way offensively. The Heat's zone against Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey and their pick and roll was incredibly effective, and I expect teams to run something similar to like that throughout the entire postseason, especially a Knicks team, which has the versatile defenders to be able to do so. So I think, it is great that they would make the playoffs. It would be fantastic if they did. It would certainly save the jobs of Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey, and they would be thrilled by that. But I don't think I'm willing to take any large leaps yet. I'll say that.
Well, you talked about that Hornets game, and this is a good sort of segue. Not segue, but
Yeah.
My biggest concern with the Sixers right now is that bench. That the backup position. And in that game, you had a guy who I think the Sixers thought when they traded Jared McCain would be a huge part of this bench. Quentin Grimes stepping up and snapping that tie at the end there with a 3-pointer with 14 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
He had 24 points in that game to lift the Sixers to a 125-121 win over the Charlotte Hornets, like you mentioned. And to me, that's where the questions arise. The Dominic Barlows, the Quentin Grimes. That's why I feel like if you're going to get a playoff series, if you get there, it's got to be a shorter series, because I still have concerns about the health of this team to a point, especially Joel. Paul George has looked reinvigorated since he's come back from his suspension, so there's not as much concern there. But I worry. I know VJ and Tyrese, they miss these games from here. Mostly load management things. Some minor injuries, but they missed some games here or there. But my concern is when guys have to come out, it's that bench that I worry against a guy like Jalen Brunson or Donovan McNabb. There's going to be some problems, but at the same time, I still take the speed, the agility of a guy like Tyrese Maxey if he's playing, and a guy like BJ Edgecombe who's had, I feel like, a criminally underrated rookie season with everything that the Sixers have been dealing with. I take their speed and ability to just get to the paint, get to the rim, and get that basket with that power, with that speed, over a lot of these people in the league, especially the bigger guys that can't defend as well, like we've seen. Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid, they're two totally different people, but against these bigger bodies, I think I like the Rhino of Tyrese Maxey and VJ in those sort of big time matchups.
Yeah, Jess. I think it's tough. I think you make a great point with the bench, right? And I think the point that kind of speaks to you is that playoff rotations, everything shifts. Everything gets a little tighter. You're playing 8 guys instead of 10, and the basketball itself becomes very matchup based, which is why for a singular round of the playoffs, I think just about anybody would take the Philadelphia 76ers, maybe like the 5th best team in the Eastern Conference, right? Because for a singular round, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, what's up, Dalt? And Paul George all together on the floor is a, really, really good starting lineup, and the statistics show that. It's as those series continue and you start to build on wear and tear that we've seen this team unable to hold up. And I think that is going to continue to be the question. That's why I have very little faith and would have about the Hornets or even, I don't really think Toronto is going to, but I would have more faith in Toronto winning 2 playoff series than I would the Sixers, just because I don't really see a scenario in which a guy like Joel Embiid is going to be able to hold up for 2 rounds and they're going to have the glue to be able to put it together. So I think that's kind of where I stand there. But I think also just in the first round, these are not easy matchups either. The Knicks have slowed of late. They have not played well as of late. But we forget the last time these two teams played, the Sixers got destroyed, especially on the boards. Mitchell Robinson was incredible in the Sixers team that is not very good at rebounding because of Joel Embiid's kind of lack of desire to really be physical in that sense, to kind of avoid injury at times, and their smaller lineups that they play with Paul George and Kelly Oubre at times. They have not been very physical on the boards, and that's somewhere where both the Cavs and the Knicks absolutely thrive. They play these 2 big lineups at times with Robinson and Towns or with Mobley and Allen, and are able to be a really difficult matchup for the Sixers. So I think that would be my worry there. And, so I think this is a good Sixers team. I think they could win a first-round series. I'm willing to say that now after the Hornets game. But I think putting any faith in them to do anything beyond that, it would be wrong of me.
Well, this upcoming game, it's going to be huge for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yes.
These next really couple of games, it's the biggest weekend, I feel like, of the Sixers season. It's crunch time for the Flyers. It's crunch time for the Philadelphia 76ers. You've got the Timberwolves tomorrow, which I feel like I'm breezing over. Correct me if I'm a little off on that point. But the game that I'm really looking forward to is on Saturday, 7 p.m. I pray to God that, everything's going to be in place for us to be able to cover that for a post-game show. But the Sixers go up against the Pistons. Now, we think that Cunningham
he will not play.
Is not going to play. We think
he will not play. He's out another week.
Yeah, so he's definitely not going to play. So Detroit, they're without their best guy. And again, correct me if I'm mischaracterizing things, but this is a huge opportunity for the Sixers. I think, to me, the Detroit Pistons, even though they are the 1 seed, to me they're a little bit top heavy. They've got Cade Cunningham, and then to me, the rest of that roster does not scare me. It doesn't. So huge opportunity for Philly to go in there and handle business against, on paper, a team that is the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. That game aside, they are the 1 seed, right? So even without Cade, do the Detroit Pistons have a favorable matchup against the Sixers on Saturday?
On Saturday, I think there is a chance, and I think it actually has less to do, I think, with the Detroit Pistons, although they've been incredibly great as of late. I wrote an article for my blog. Go check out Hungry Dog Sports blog about how fantastic and together this Pistons team has played without Cade Cunningham. They are such a stellar defense. Jalen Duren has been probably the most improved player over this season, and the way they've strung together offense without Cade Cunningham, with the step up from Dennis Jenkins, who's a guard, who was a 2-way player. He's been great for them this season. With the step up of your boy Tobias Harris, Jess. No, you're a big fan. No, you love that guy. a couple other key veterans. It's been really huge for them. So I think, it has more to do with, however, the lack of rest for Joel Embiid. And they're going to play Minnesota the night before. And that game means just as much as the Detroit game, right? They are a game and a half up on the Hornets. They are a game and a half up on the Heat. Both of those games equally mean just as much as far as a win, because they need to stay above these other teams in the standings. So I think whichever of those games Joel Embiid chooses to rest, I would guess it's the second one, because usually you rest on the second of the back-to-back. That's going to be the game that I think is a little more in question. And so we'll see how that works out. But I think if Joel Embiid does not play, obviously it is not a matchup in which I would favor the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, another one of the Sixers' big men, Paul George. He's had, like I mentioned, a really incredible resurgence after the last couple of weeks with his suspension. My concern going into all of this was if he would be able to have the mental stability to carry on it. Those sort of things really mess with your mind, and especially because of the reason that he got suspended. It was because of a mental health drug that he was taking, and I wondered, hey, if he can't take what he's being disavowed and disallowed to take, then shoot, like, where are we gonna go here? But it seems like he credits that sort of stay for a lot of positive things to get his body right. He says that he was really, his thing, his mental thing was he felt right, but his body just was not cooperating. Now he's had that time to recuperate and physically get right. And we saw it last night with him putting up 39 points and a couple of threes in a row. And all of a sudden, it looks like the guy that, we were fearing podcast P is production P all of a sudden.
That was a good one. Yeah, Jess.
I appreciate it. I can do this all day.
I know you can. I know you can. That's a fact. I am cautious to attach any real meaning to a win over the Washington Wizards as someone who gets paid to cover the Washington Wizards. And so that's where I would slow my roll a little bit with the Paul George stuff. But it is very nice to see him play well. I think he will likely fit in this team in a greater role than he did without Jared McCain, more because he's going to play a lot with the bench unit as kind of a backup point guard. That's something that I expect to see more of as this kind of goes on. I love Quentin Grimes. I think they have a lot of trust and a lot of faith in him. I think Quentin Grimes works better when he's off the ball as more of a two guard. I expect some point P, if you will. There you go, Jess. There's another P analogy.
Dig it.
But
Absolutely dig
I
it.
expect more point P come postseason time, and him to have more control over the offense with his bench unit. And we could potentially see some results a little more similar to what we saw in Washington, where he has a little more control. So that's kind of the interesting thing that I took out of that, and I'm excited to see how they explore that, especially with a weekend of upcoming games that are equally important.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the lack of faith. Not lack of faith, but it is the Washington Wizards. But Paul George has still averaged 28.9 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.9 assists in its last 10 games.
Yeah.
He put up. I'm pulling up the stats right now. But against Washington, he put up 39. Obviously, he put up almost 20 against the Miami Heat. He put up 26 against the Charlotte Hornets, who
He had a good game.
He
Not
did.
a good defense, but he did have a good game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to drive that Charlotte Hornets point home a little bit, a little tough to add on to your expert analysis, but seriously, that Charlotte Hornets team, just from what I've heard and what I've been seeing, they've been one of the hottest teams in the entire league for the last couple of months. They are legit. They've got a young team and they're fast, aggressive. From a announcer perspective, I absolutely love
Eric Collins.
Oh my God, he's awesome. He's
a lot of fun.
He's so energetic.
They're my favorite league pass team for that very reason.
Dude, it's a fun. They are a fun watch, and they have not been, I feel like, relevant for the last couple of years, and so to get a W on the road in Charlotte, although I would venture to say the crowd of Philadelphia is a little bit better than the crowd of the Charlotte Hornets, but they're still.
I don't know, man. That arena has been rocking. And I think what separates what Charlotte has been doing right now, right, is just that this Hornets team is not just huge for that city, but it's huge for basketball for them to be as fun as they are, right? We don't have many teams right now. Everybody talks a lot about how a lot of these teams are not very scheme diverse, right? They are not, teams play less in different distinct styles than before. We see, I mean, even like I was watching the Nuggets offense last night, and it's kind of been dumbed down from the fun Jokic playmaking, everybody's moving offense that it was years ago to a lot of Jokic and Murray pick and roll. The Charlotte Hornets are fast, they are fun, and they play hard, and everybody loves that. So
that's, you know what, and this is to drive home your point about Joel a little bit. That's I think one of the bigger keys. Joel, he's looked better for sure, but I'll tell you what, when you get the Joel Embiid dunks and the faders that he does, but especially those dunks when he charges, at guys. The dude is huge. Like, you get those, you can get the foul calls. Like, I really don't think he's been drawing as many fouls as he should with that size, I feel like, but because he's a little worried to get still that leg hurt. But I think that the funniest thing I've seen is in those MVP years, you'll go on NBA Twitter and everybody's such a hater because they call the guy a foul merchant. My counter argument to that is, what does that get you? More damn points, So I need aggressive Joel Embiid. And if you're going to get that, I feel like you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, and I think you've gotten it, Jess. I think as of right now, you have absolutely gotten it. He has looked incredible over the last couple games. He had a rough game.
Okay, that's mean. That is very mean. That is extremely mean.
He can eat as many cheeseburgers as he wants if he drops triple doubles every night. That's what he's been doing. So I have all the confidence in the world in the healthy Joel Embiid come postseason. Do I have faith that we're going to get that for more than the round? No, that's why I kind of maintain where I'm at. But, man, I mean, that is a special, special player that I don't think anybody in the top of the East wants to see healthy, at least for a round. And then we can deal with all the aftermath the round after and freak out as we usually do.
Absolutely. Well, you want to talk about a special player, Justin Crawford. Holy smokes.
Getting so good at these segues, man.
I try.
You get me every time.
Dude, I mean, we're what, 20 episodes and I got it.
Yep.
What a insane comeback by the Philadelphia Phillies the other day. I don't care that it's the Washington Nationals. I care about what we saw from that 9th and 10th inning. Everybody has been screaming, rightfully so, that these guys from top to bottom do not have the right approach at when they're at bats, that they're home run or bust. But you know what I like to see? Them taking the walks. What does that result in? The comeback of, I don't want to say the ages, but a 5-1 comeback
Ages.
is not. I was gonna go somewhere crazy.
The
I
Washington
said the other.
Nationals, my friend. I don't know about
I
ages
know.
yet.
Well, you're gonna find this hilarious. I don't know where this came from, but on the Phillies postgame show, I asked if Justin Crawford is bound to be and is destined to be the Phillies' greatest hitter of all time. Now,
I think you'd be correct in that assessment so far.
Is there you do you think Justin?
No, I'm
okay.
I'm kidding.
Okay, yeah. No, it's still a young season, but I feel like we've needed a guy that can hit for average, hit for power, especially in that 9th spot, to give a guy that can hit 50 home runs a season a chance to get the RBI jacked up a ton. And I mean, we haven't really seen that a ton yet. We did see a home run by Schwarber, I think, in the series. I think, yeah, in the in game 1 or 2, I think. But regardless, I love what we saw from top to bottom. Adolis, he seemed like he's been on fire the last couple of games, and could be maybe a replacement for Alec Boehm in that 4 spot. Boehm to me has not been very impressive, but yesterday was fun. Yesterday was a lot of fun. The Phillies are off today. They go to Colorado. They play against Colorado tomorrow night. It's going to be a little rough couple of days because it's that vaunted West Coast trip, and the Phillies always seem to suck out there. The games are always super late, and it's going to be a pain. But we'll get there when we get there. But talk about, if you don't mind, talk about that comeback last night and a weekend. What have you seen from the Philadelphia Phillies?
Yeah, Jess. So as far as the comeback, I hopped in the pool to do my swimming lessons with the young Ursinus swimmers, and the score was 3-0. And I said, you know what? This is fine. They'll be able to bounce back as the season goes on, and generally that's been my theme throughout this week stretch. Right, I have seen a lot of freaking out about the likes of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner, and my response is simply that it's been a week. And that's kind of the lulls that occur within a season, and certainly it's not encouraging given how they finished the last season. I think we were all pumped for baseball and excited to see something different and relevant in that way, and maybe we can be a little concerned with the Trey Turner part of it, because that's really not something I expected from him. Maybe a little from Schwarber and Harper, who've been a little more streaky, but not from Trey. But in general, I felt pretty good about still about where this team was at and where they were going to be. And then I got out of the pool, Jess, and I saw that. And I watched it back. That was quite beautiful. And I saw your clips from the other day talking about it, and it's just to have a young player who's as exciting as Crawford is and bring life to this place. I still remember when the daycare was the daycare, right? And we still had so much hope about the potential of them growing into, young stars in the way that they potentially could have, the faith that we had in a guy like Alec Boehm, whose struggles we can talk about over the course of this show, or, the ceiling of Bryson Stott, even if he hasn't been exactly spectacular so far this season. But Justin Crawford is a guy who's given us that hope again. And I'm excited to see where he takes us for the rest of this season. It just adds a new element to this that is really exciting. And the starting pitching has been, as up and down as it gets as well. But I think that's also something I have faith in. They'll figure it out. So I think my general overall take on all of it is just let's ride it out, Jess. You're muted.
Sorry, my
You're
bad.
good.
You mentioned not as smooth of a transition. I'm still learning, but
it would have been
you
a
know,
smooth transition if we could
yeah,
hear you.
exactly. But that being said, the Phils against I just pulled this from our post game show against Texas, and they got canned. I know a couple years ago they played as hard in 23 to open up the year, but that was a rough series, and that game against the Nationals where we got pants. Double-digit runs, that wasn't fun as well. But I have Trey Turner in that graphic. He's a guy that, Jesus, he's looked awful to start the year, and I still, I believe in the guy, because of it's the contract. You think that these $300 million contracts, they got to do something, and Trey hasn't done that so far. And we've all talked about Bryce Harper. We talked
but
about
I'd argue he did it last season though, right? With Trey, I would argue that. Yeah,
you would. Yeah. So far it hasn't been pretty.
Yeah, so far this season, definitely. But with Trey.
What do you got
like last season? I would argue that Trey was the $300 million player, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, MVP candidate, like improved defensively, like.
Well, I'll tell you that when I think of $300 million player, I think of a guy that has a solid season and a playoff series or two that he shows up. And he did not against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'd argue that the only series that he has shown up in the last few years was that game where Nick Castellanos hit two home runs against the Braves in 2023. He hit a home run in that game, or the game before that. So, other than that, I don't know. Has he been worth $300 million? I don't know. Another guy that's been a little bit of a disappointment, especially after the non-elite stuff with David Dombrowski, Bryce Harper. We saw the WBC was a little rough until the very end there. Then he hit that home run, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna go off. He's gonna, we've got the Bryce Harper, that we've come to know and expect." All of a sudden, it's been rough. So, has Bryce Harper? Is this little a low streak? Although he did hit a home run, against the Nationals, yesterday. So maybe this is the start of things. But are you worried about Bryce Harper?
No, I'm not. I think it's similar to what I said with the other guys, right? It's really disappointing because of the way last season ended, and kind of we want to see these guys come out and prove that was kind of a mirage in that way. And I can't say that I expect him to be like 2022 Bryce Harper still, just because it's not something we've seen. But I think we could easily get 2 years ago Bryce Harper. I think that's perfectly reasonable, and I expect it to kind of level out in that way. He already had an incredible hit yesterday, and hopefully that just continues to build on itself and bring him confidence in order to shine for this team. So I think you can go up and down this roster, Jess, and there's a lot of guys who we can have similar conversations similar to one with Bryce Harper about. Like, you just had one about Trey Turner. We could have a Kyle Schwarber conversation right now. Like, JT Realmuto's been awful, like borderline unplayable. So it's like Alec Boehm is Alec Boehm, right? So, there's so many different directions we could go with that, but I think in the 182 game season, you really just gotta wait and see. So it's not the answer we want, but that's how we move.
Exactly. That's how we move indeed. I think that's going to wrap things up for today's show. Do want to make a little bit, I don't know if they've made official announcements or not, but if Dalton or KJ, if you're in this chat, to let the people know, but at some point mid-April, we'll be holding an event for the Eagles Autism Foundation, I think around the 16th
that's awesome.
or 17th.
Yeah.
I know there's, let's see. So, it might be, I think it's the 16th, 16th or 17th. We're holding an event for the Eagles Autism Foundation at Founding Brothers, I believe.
Good place. Good food.
And then we will be holding an event the very next game, a watch party, at either Klondike or Founding Brothers. I really hope I didn't butcher that. I really hope I said something. I really hope I said something that I shouldn't have. That I didn't say something I shouldn't have. But it's going to be a fun time. I think we've got a couple of other Philadelphia sports creators that are booked in, but we'll make those announcements, I think, in due time. But should be a fun time. Gives me an excuse to come down to Newark.
We're gonna watch Rocky.
Exactly. I will talk for sure about that in the future. Right? Just something for everybody. It's keep on your radar at some point. Should be a fun time. But that being said, just want to shout out El Diablo, Nick's Pizza, the Burnt Coffee Company, Balboa Steaks, Bob's Hot Chicken, and Tick Pick for the help. And they are proud sponsors of the 302 Birds podcast and proud sponsor of the Philly Sports Pulse. But that's going to wrap things up for the Philly Sports Pulse. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the best Philadelphia sports content in the land. But that's going to wrap things up. Alongside Adam Dead, I'm Jesse Sharon, as my dog goes absolutely ballistic.
Shout out Jesse's dog.
That. Yep, hope nobody heard that. But that's going to wrap things up. Appreciate you all for watching. God bless, and go Birds.